So Marvel Rivals released their Dev Vision video today. We learned some really interesting things about Daredevil and some more interesting things that'll be coming in season 4.5 and season 5. Let's go ahead and talk about it. YouTube, what's going on, man? It's Father Dark. Hope everybody's having a great day, great start to their week. Great to see Guang Guang back, right? I don't know about that guy, fan, no shade to him or anything, but just doesn't hit the same way as when we get one of these dev talks from Guang Guang, right? Good to see him back. But yeah, so like I was saying in the intro to the video, in this dev talk, it started out and they talked about a few things with Daredevil. Now we haven't gotten his character trailer yet. Usually the way those work is it's usually about 7 to 8 days before the actual release of the season or half season update that we get, when we usually see the actual character trailer. And usually before that they do what they did today, where they release kind of their dev talk, and they'll kind of lightly hint at what's going on with that character and kind of talk about some different abilities and stuff, but they don't really go too far into detail. The thing that's interesting though is that I did a video a couple of days back where I like to do these before characters come out, when I'm interested in the character, where we speculate as to what their abilities might be like, their specials and stuff like that. And with Daredevil, I was really interested because clearly they've taken like a different approach with Daredevil in regards to his more like comic book origins and how we know him. And like I said, in the comic books, he does get possessed by the Beast at one point in time, where he does, become a bit more powerful and get some more abilities that are a little bit different than what he normally has, where he's a little bit more street level. And I had actually speculated that he might be a tank, but he would be kind of like a hybrid DPS tank. Kind of like if you think about Emma Frost, where she has two ability sets, or you think about like Cloak and Dagger, or maybe even like a Reed Richards, where he can kind of be tanky at some point in time, but then he's more like a DPS. And it was kind of half right. I thought they would do it the other way around, where he'd be a tank, but then he would have the ability to be maybe like weaker and faster and have more like a DPS effect. And then, his main thing would be him being a bit stronger and a bit slower when he's possessed by the Beast. But apparently they just did it backwards, so it's kind of like semantics at that point, where he's actually a DPS. But like they did say in the dev talk, he does have the ability to take on targets that are a bit stronger than him. So let's go ahead and get into that. But one of the first things I did notice was that they talked about his radar sense, and they said that would be something that he would have in the game. Now, in regards to whatever his actual radar sense is, they didn't really go into too much detail about that. I've seen people say all types of stuff. I think the best thing for Daredevil having some type of radar sense would be anyone that's making any kind of noise at all, if like you're moving. Kind of like if you think about Punisher, the way that he can see people through walls sometimes. And I don't exactly know. Can someone explain to me in the comments exactly what it is with Daredevil? I'm sorry, not Daredevil, but Punisher, to where he can actually see people through walls. Does he have to like shoot him or something, or is it just like if they're really close, or is it only when he's in turret form? I don't play Punisher enough to know exactly. I just know sometimes when I am playing Punisher, I can see people through walls. But the point is though, is that he will have some type of radar sense. I've seen other people as well saying that he would actually have like a Call of Duty style radar, which I think that'd be a bit much. But I do think that that's something that is going to be interesting and definitely cool about him. Now, the next thing I want to talk about in regards to Daredevil is the fact that they were saying, or Guang Guang was saying, that he'll be able to basically prioritize targets, and he'll be able to close the gap and use his billy clubs to just go crazy on them. And when I heard that, it immediately kind of made me think about like Thing, for example. The way Thing has the ability to where he can basically pick a target, whether it be a friendly target or an enemy target, but primarily in this sense, I would assume it would just be for enemies. And he'll basically be able to, like, I would assume, like jump to that person, or maybe do some kind of like slide or dash or something to get to that target immediately, and just, like I said, go ham on them with the billy clubs, which I think that's going to be really cool, because I really like that ability about the Thing, and I think it really makes him stand out as a tank, being able to do that and prioritize, like, oh, I want to jump to this healer in the back and focus on them, or maybe there's somebody who's one shot and they're about to get away, so be able to close that distance. And if it's able to work with flyers as well, that would just be one more reason for people to fear being in the sky. And the next thing they brought up after that was him being able to deal with tougher opponents. Now, when they said tougher opponents, and the way that I saw that in my head was like, let's say it's like a tank or something like that, him being able to use his beast form, that's where it kind of makes me think about like Emma Frost, for example. The way that Emma Frost, she normally just kind of shoots her little, psionic beam or whatever it's called, and that does like pretty good damage, especially when it's charged up. But then if you really want to just get close and just go crazy, you would switch over to Diamond form, whereas you might be a little bit slower. You don't, or actually are you really slower? I don't think you're slower or anything, but you take less damage and you're able to basically just become a straight up brawler, and you just do a ridiculous amount of damage up close. And to me, that makes sense. Like I said, that was kind of how I predicted it before. I just kind of said it the other way around, but it was the same exact idea though, pretty much, is that you would have these two different forms that kind of were made to handle different situations. Like you have your normal form where you're able to, dash to people a lot quicker and stuff, but maybe you have less health. And then when you switch over to the beast form, that's when you would be able to take on like tougher characters and stuff like tanks and everything like that. But I don't think that it would be a situation in this case where he would have any more health or anything. I think it would just kind of be like how you have Blade, where he kind of has like his ranged attacks, and then gets a little bit closer. He has like the anti-heal and the life steal and stuff like that. I'm really interested to see how that's going to work out on the battlefield. I'm really excited to see the trailer to actually see these abilities, so we can stop speculating about them. But the last thing I want to talk about is actual ultimate ability. I'm not gonna lie, when they described his ultimate ability, it literally sounds exactly like Emma Frost. The way that when Emma Frost looks at you, you basically just become under mind control and you start walking toward her and you're slowly losing health. Now, the only difference that I could imagine with the Daredevil aspect, because they basically said anyone that looks at him will be gripped by fear and they'll be awaiting his cold justice, which that just sounds tough, right? Awaiting his cold justice. But anyway, yeah, it sounds very, very much like Emma Frost. But basically, I think the only difference would be that it's more of like if he looks at you, and the way that I imagine it is kind of like the way that Hulk can freeze people or whatever momentarily, not like literally freeze them like snow, but you know what I mean. I forget what that ability is called, but yeah, that's how I imagine his would work. Now I don't know if it'd be like over a period of time or whatever the case is, but yeah, it sounds very, very similar to an Emma Frost thing, where once he looks at someone, or maybe someone looks at him while he's in his ultimate, you're just going to become completely frozen, and he's basically just going to be able to do whatever he wants with you, which probably won't be anything good, right? But yeah, ultimately though, Daredevil is sounding pretty cool. I'm actually really excited to see what NetEase is going to do with Daredevil. Realistically, I'd say based off of all the other times that we've gotten trailers for characters, which I said has been anywhere from like 7 to 9 days. So either tomorrow or up to the latest probably Friday is when we're going to actually see his whole entire like character trailer. They'll physically show us all of his abilities and stuff and how they look in game. Now the next thing I want to talk about is the fact that they're removing the Ragnarok Rebirth, which I actually really like that ability, because I love playing Thor. So usually whenever I play Thor, somebody will switch over to Hela, and it's really nice to be able to have that in fights to be able to bring people back. But I get it though, it's a live service game. They're trying to keep things fresh and trying to take out things after they've been in the game for too long, so I kind of get it. One of the things that I'm really happy that they're getting rid of finally is the Gamma Charge team up ability with Namor and the Hulk. I get it for people that like playing Namor. That's really fun. But it drives me insane how many people in this game. This game's almost been out for a year now, and I still get teammates and stuff in Platinum and Diamond who refuse to shoot Onks and Squids. And then these people don't want to play support. So it's a constant like battle where I'm having to support people, eliminate people, and constantly take out these Onks and these Squids every 2 seconds. And it drives me crazy. So the less of those that we have in the game, the better. But you would think like, oh man, yeah, they're getting rid of that. It's going to be awesome. But now they're bringing in the other team up, Deep Wrath. Now, from what it looks like, it's like Namor has like some kind of ability where he can like throw some kind of special trident or something, and it'll kind of like do like this splash effect all around, in a little like an area of effect, obviously. And that's one thing. But this was actually leaked a while back on Twitter, and I'm sure some other places, but I had saw it on Twitter, where basically it's a team up between him and Hela, and every time like she eliminates someone while they have their team up, it pops up a squid over that person, like where they got deleted at. And I don't know if there's a limit to that or how many times it can be done, but from what it looked like when they leaked it, it seemed like pretty much anytime she deletes someone, another squid pops up temporarily. So it almost kind of seems like we're trading one issue for like 15 other issues when it comes to that. But like I said, we're gonna have to see how that's going to genuinely play out, because I don't know exactly how long those squids are actually going to last for and how much damage they're going to do, if they're going to do more damage than the average ones, or it's just going to be kind of like whatever. I don't know. But when, like I said, you have an issue where you already had people not taking out any of the squids, God, that's just, we're already getting into a whole different. But in brighter news, though, for any of the people that were concerned about cross-platform, which that's never really been something that I've been concerned with. Every once in a blue moon, I will play on my console, but it's usually only because people beg me to do a console run in various different circumstances, or under various different circumstances, to kind of see if I feel like there's any difference between console and PC. So I've done that numerous times now. But for me personally, like I said, it's not an issue. But I know there are a lot of people that maybe they started their account on PC, and then they decided to play on console with friends or vice versa. And that's the only reason they haven't started using whatever they're on or whatever they like to use as their main account, because when they started out, they got certain skins or whatever the case is on that account. Now, the thing is, they did say that your stats won't change. So, like, let's say you're number 3 Iron Man on console. You're not going to load into your PC account and be number 3 Iron Man on PC and vice versa and stuff. And the same thing with any of your other stats. Those will be separated. But as far as like all of your cosmetics and things like that, I'm pretty sure that's how that's going to work in regards to the cross progression and being able to unlock things. So like if you're halfway through your battle pass on your PC and then you want to go switch over to your console because you're on vacation or whatever the case is. But like I said, and also too, one thing that I did want to add in is something really interesting. They said they have some kind of new game mode, and instead of just like announcing it or saying we'll announce it regularly or whatever the case is, they did say that they were going to wait to announce it at the I believe it was the Thailand game show or something that's coming up, which I've never known that Thailand did a game show. That was something that was beyond me. But yeah, they said they're going to wait to announce it for then. So usually I don't really get excited when I hear about like new game modes or anything like that. Because usually they're not anything that really interests me, honestly. There's yet to be a time where I was like, man, I really enjoyed this game mode. But I'm also somebody who just predominantly plays ranked, so it's really hard to get me so interested in a different thing that I can be concerned with that. But the fact that they're waiting to reveal it at a game show, whether it be at Thailand or E3 or whatever game show it is or whatever, it sounds like it's probably a little bit bigger than the normal one. And I could just that could be wishful thinking, but that's just I don't understand why they would wait to reveal it at a game show versus how they've done any of the other ones in the past, where they just reveal it when it's about to come out or in a trailer or whatever the case is. So I do think that that's something to be excited about. But I am curious though, what are you guys' thoughts on Daredevil? Are you actually excited for him? Are you not? Are you disappointed that he's a duelist instead of a Vanguard or a support player? I know there's a lot of people out there who really thought, yeah, Daredevil might be a support player, and this is how. And I'm like, brother, I don't know what reality you thought Daredevil was about to be a support player. And I get it, because it would have been really hard to convince me prior to Ultron's release that he was realistically going to be a support player. And that's even with him having his abilities leaked and stuff. And I was just like, somebody just made those up or something. That was ChatGPT. But here we are. And there's a couple of other supports that, to me, it just kind of seems wild that that's what they are. But NetEase has surprised before, but nonetheless, we do know now that he is a duelist. So let me know in the comments what you think about that. Are you excited for cross-platform? What do you think about the new team ups and stuff like that? They said they were going to wait a while to tell us about the actual changes to characters in the game and stuff like that. But yeah, besides that though, just let me know what your thoughts are. I'm really interested to hear what everybody's thoughts are. I'm actually pretty excited for season 4.5, but Daredevil is one of my favorite superheroes of all time, easily top 5. So I've been waiting on this. But as always though, I am interested to hear what your thoughts and opinions are. But that's all I got for this video. I just want to kind of cover those things and go over those really quick. But yeah, I'm Father Dark, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Appreciate y'all for listening.